Network, and you can watch either live events or all those that we have archived. A good show lined up for you tonight, and we're going to start out with the archery topic tonight. And joining us here is Valley City Highlander senior Tiana Judd and Coach Jody Schlenker. And Tiana shoots, I guess, Tiana, would you say you shoot under the Valley City flag, but you're kind of with Barnes County North?
Yeah, yep.
That's how we'll say it. And normally the BCN kids come here to stuff. She goes there and practices. And I guess, Jody, we'll start with you. Just being able for Tiana to shoot, you had to go through a little bit of a process.
I did. I had to figure out how I could get her to shoot because she does not have a coach for Valley City right now. And you have to be NAS certified in order to sign up kids online to shoot. And she did not have a coach here, and I was contacted to try to get her to shoot at BCN. And I had to go through some hoops to get her to shoot, but I just put myself as a Valley City coach, so I was able to get her to shoot for her own school.
And NAS, now that's National Association of, or National Archery School in program, archery in school program.
Correct.
And so that's what you're talking about. They had to be certified through them.
Yes, you have to be NAS certified in order to coach, be on the line, sign up kids for tournaments, local tournaments.
And Valley City used to have a team and just didn't have one this year. So, Tiana, for you, how big was it for Jody to do that? So at least you had a chance to shoot and go somewhere and shoot.
It was really awesome. Yeah, we were really worried at the beginning of the year of where I was going to go and how I was going to be able to shoot.
Did you have options? Did people talk about where your options were, or was it?
My really only option was to join BCN and shoot with them.
Well, now the NSAP state tournament here was in Minot, memory serves, here last weekend. And Tiana, you had a pretty good day shooting. But before we get to that, you and I have talked on the phone. We have to go through the story of course, she was coming back from Orlando because she was with the choir and band down in Orlando, Florida. And you had an interesting little story to get yourself to Minot. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I flew from Orlando into Minneapolis, and we were waiting at the gate, and I think we went through 3 planes, and then they're like, oh, nope, we're going to not try anything else for the night. And so everybody got, like, hotel vouchers and food vouchers, but I'm a minor, so I wasn't able to check into a hotel. So I ended up sleeping at the airport. So they ended up taking me back to, like an unaccompanied minors area, and I slept on a couch back there.
Was it at least comfortable?
No. I slept for maybe 4 hours.
well, at least you got a little bit of sleep. And then I was back on the plane the next day and headed out to Minot. Well, then that means you probably had to get all your shooting done in a short amount of time, didn't you?
Yes, I was one after another, and I was just kind of trying to jump into open flights.
And you got through about 4 hours worth of shooting, and there's 3D and bullseye. For those that don't know with archery, it is the 2 competitions. Describe, Jody, if you will, what bullseye is and what 3D is.
Well, bullseye is a block target, and it's got 10 rings, so you score from 10, 9, all the way through 0. And then 3D would be 6 targets of actual animals, like a ram, turkey, bear, stuff like that.
Okay.
So they both shoot at 10 meters and 15 meters in the bullseye, and then through the 6 targets of 3D, you go from 10 to 15 meters also.
Okay. And was it your bullseye? You had a 286?
Yes.
And then a 257 in the 3D. Do you like one better than the other?
I don't know. I definitely like to shoot 3D, but I definitely say bullseye more.
And you do better at bullseye than you do at 3D normally, or is it equal?
Yes, I usually do better at bullseye than 3D.
Well, now with her performance that she had at state, you qualified for nationals. You've been at state, about 4 times now?
Yes.
But this is your first time qualifying for the nationals.
Yes.
How does that feel?
Pretty good. I'm very excited for it.
And that'll be in Louisville, Kentucky here coming up. I think in May. I want to say middle of May is when that's coming up. So Now, Jody, when you get to those nationals, how's that going to be set up?
It's the same as state and your local tournaments, but it's a huge scale. Like is going to be thousands of shooters, and it goes through several parts of a building. So there's several on a line at a time. I think there's 480 on one side and then 280 on the other. So
Okay.
all shooting at one time.
So discipline is probably a key, isn't it? And focusing
Yes,
on your
very
own
much so.
target.
Yep.
'Cause you, let's go. No.
There's a lot to it. You cannot tip your bow when you're knocking your arrow. There's a lot to it. If you mess up, the line judge will make sure that you know that you've messed up.
And they take safety very seriously, don't
Very safe. Yes, very much so.
they? Because I've heard talk with other coaches, they will disqualify you if they think you're
Yes.
goofing around.
Yep.
What got you into archery, Tiana? What kind of drew you towards that?
Well, I've been shooting for a very long time. And like we usually go hunting, and when I found out that archery was an option offered at the school, I was like, yeah, I want to do that, of course. And I don't know, I've just always been drawn to it.
I know some schools they have it as a gym class. Did you maybe start off? Did you take it in gym at all or not?
Well, we were supposed to. The way the gym class was split up, my specific class never ended up doing it, but I'm pretty sure all the other ones did.
That is a qualification to
It
be
is.
in NAS school. You have to have it in
Okay.
your FIAD class. Not even that she has to take it, but it has to be offered at your school
Okay.
to be a NAS certified class or school.
Well, now last question for you, Tiana, is getting ready for nationals. Now, what are you doing? What kind? Obviously, practicing and practicing and practicing. But what are you getting yourself prepared for as you get ready to head to Kentucky? Mentally, are you doing anything differently or no?
Not really. Just trying to make it through.
Just trying to make it through. Do you have
Big
a
thing
goal?
is just practicing and
Yeah.
staying fresh.
Sure.
When you got there by shooting, so you got to keep shooting.
Yeah, it's not a case. Oh, I'll take a couple of
No,
weeks
you
off.
cannot
and-
take time off.
And I'll just relax here and run track. And then track, of course, is now getting ready for track. And you said you throw.
Yes.
So discus, shot. What do you? Or
Yep,
javelin? Or
all of them.
all of them. So we're going to see your name up there a lot here this spring.
Maybe.
Well, I'll talk to Coach Bacalar because he's coming on later in the show. So we'll talk to him about that. Let's see if he can do that. Well, coming up next, we're going to have Coach Derek Lee joining us from BCN and talk a little bit more about this. But again, Jody, Tiana, congratulations.
Thank you.
And good luck in Kentucky.
Thank you.
We will step aside, and Jody, thank you for joining us too, and thank
you.
you for coaching her and signing her up so she had a place to shoot.
Well, she's an awesome shot, and I've seen her shoot for the last few years, so I really wanted to make sure that she got a chance to shoot.
And you said, wasn't you send her a list and send her schedule, and it was done. You didn't have to talk to her again.
She was phenomenal at organizing herself. I gave her list of where she was shooting and her times, and she never questioned and asked when she was going. And yeah, she kept herself very organized.
So taking it seriously is not a problem for her.
Not at all. She's phenomenal.
All right. Well, again, ladies, thank you for joining us, and good luck in Kentucky. Maybe when you come back, we'll talk again about how you did.
Thanks.
That's Deanna Judd and Jody Schlenker joining us. We'll be back again. Derek Lee, coach of BCN, will be joining us next and talk more archery in our opening segment here on Coach's Corner from the Highlander Activities Center. Back here on Coach's Corner at the Highlander Activities Center, and we are now joined by Derek Lee. He's the head coach for Barnes County North for the Archers at BCN. And Coach, we're talking about Tiana, but you also had another young gentleman that qualified for nationals.
Yes, Blaine Elston. He's qualified the last couple years. He's a very fine shooter.
Elementary, middle school, and high school are the three divisions. And I'm thinking Blayland is in the elementary.
Yes.
Where do you see is this? You guys got more numbers in elementary, middle school. Where are your numbers at? Because I know you got about 44 shooters.
From what I've seen, most of them are probably in elementary and middle school.
How about getting those young shooters? Is that just they're teaching them discipline, you're teaching them safety, and just getting those young shooters going?
Yeah, that's a challenge to start with.
Yep.
And there's a fine line there, because you want them to take it serious, but you can't make it too serious, otherwise they won't enjoy it. So you gotta have them try to have some fun also, but it's a fine line.
When I was looking at scores, looks like you got a lot of siblings. Is that really something too? You see a lot of families that have this?
Yep.
Because it's probably, like Tiana said, we go hunting, and it's probably something they grew up with.
Right. Yeah, I had all three of my kids shot archery at some point, but yeah, families, they all come. Some are better than others, of course, and there's a rivalry between brother, sister, brother, but
Did you feel that the archery is a growing sport here, especially in North Dakota?
yeah, it's from when we first started it, it has blown up immensely since now it's hard to even get into a shoot, and there's so many. Every weekend there's 2, 3, 4, 5 of them at the same time, so it's getting huge.
You look at shooting sports, not just archery, but maybe trap shooting and skeet shooting. I think air rifle, small bore. All these shooting sports really seem to picking up some momentum, aren't they?
Yeah, I believe that. The main reason is because anybody can do it. You don't have to be the best jock at something.
Yep.
Anybody can do it. You could have physical disabilities and still participate in archery or anything like this.
And archery, unlike the shooting sports, there's no prone. You're not kneeling. It's all standing.
Correct.
And 15, what'd she say, 10, 15 meters
Yes.
from the target?
Yep.
What's that approximately in yards? That's about 20 yards? I'm trying
No.
to think. Or
10 meters is 32.9 feet.
Feet,
So
okay.
10 yards is 30 feet.
Yep, so it'd be 10
and
yards.
the 15 yards is 49.2 feet.
So 50
it's,
yards.
Right.
So it's almost like you're at the 50-yard line shooting towards the end zone, if you will.
Pretty much,
Give
yeah.
you a perspective
Right,
of what
right.
you're shooting. And to shoot a 286 like she did in the bullseye, how big is that?
To get up into the 280s, it takes a lot because each round that you shoot is a maximum score of 50 per round, and you shoot 3 scoring at 10 and 3 scoring at 15. So if you have one bad round, you could drop quite a bit. So to stay up that high is very good.
And you see if you look at the score sheet, it says number of tens. Obviously, that's the bullseye. That's the middle.
Right.
And then it goes off from there. And I forget what you have, but I thought you had about 14, something like that. But she had a fairly decent number of tens. And do you remember? I should have asked her what her best is in her tens. But now, just for Tiana and just as a group for BCN and your archers, what would you like to see out of this program as you go down the line? She's done, I know, but
Right. I guess I'd like to see it still continue to go.
Yeah.
I'm actually retiring after this year.
ooh, is that a scoop?
Yeah, well, they know
Jody's
it.
like, wait a minute. No one
She
told
knows
me
it,
that.
but I'd like to see it keep going.
Yeah.
It's a very good program, and I do have niece still shooting
Sure.
at Barnes County, so I'll still be there watching and helping Jody if she needs anything. But I foresee it still growing bigger all the time.
Another people that are Valley City wrestling fans know Brooke Bundy, and she is a BCN girl, and she does some shooting and actually did pretty well at state as well. Thought got her second in one of them, second or
Yeah,
third.
that was in varsity.
In the varsity.
Bows, yes. And she's been one of our top shooters over the years, but I think with the wrestling this year, she didn't practice as much as normal.
Right.
So she was down a little, and I know she was a little frustrated, but she did fine.
Indoors, it's usually
Yes,
it's indoors, so
yes.
it's a winter, would be considered
Right.
a winter sport.
Correct.
But you can always go out in the sand pit during the summer and
You could.
practice a little bit.
Yeah, if you practice in the wind, it might make you a little better.
This is true, and you can find plenty of wind in North Dakota.
Oh, yeah.
It's never a lack of wind in North Dakota.
Right.
Final question for you, Derek, is you kind of with Tiana going to nationals and Blaylin going to nationals. What do you think these two shooters are capable of doing when they get to Kentucky?
Oh, as long as they keep smiling.
I don't think that's a problem for her, though, is it?
Oh, it is when she's shooting. She's her toughest critic when she's out there. But I foresee them making it to the next go round, to the championship.
That's I didn't get a chance to ask Jody. There is another level after this.
Yep. And they used to call it the world, but now it's just called championship. And I foresee, as long as they, once you get down in Louisville, it is like a jaw-dropping event because it is huge. First time I went there, there's kids show up with practice jerseys on, and there's cheerleaders actually carrying their stuff, and so it's a big thing. But so just take it all in and enjoy it.
You want me to carry your stuff? I'll go to Kentucky with you. That's right around my birthday, so it'll be perfect. But it's just nice to. It's a big deal when these kids get to that
Oh
level.
yes, it's very proud to be a coach and your kids make it there.
Like I said, hopefully after he comes back, we're talking about that next level. So maybe have you guys on again and talk about that next level for either Blaylin or Tiana. But congratulations. What's been a fun year, and look forward to some good things, and good luck here for you and Tiana and the rest here in Kentucky.
Oh, thank you.
You bet, Coach. That is Coach Derek Lee joining us from Barnes County North from the archery team from BCN. And we'll be back in more of our Coach's Corner as we continue here from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network. And back here on Coach's Corner from the Highlander Activities Center on this Thursday evening. Of course, we had to move the show to tonight because my other job made me go to a school board meeting last night, so we moved it to Thursday night. Moving on to bulking up, or at least getting conditioned. Let's not talk bulking up, getting conditioned. And Allie Keller joining us here, strength and conditioning guru. Coach, what would your title be for Valley City?
I am the sport performance coach for Valley City Highlanders.
So that's even better.
Yes.
The sport performance
Bulking
coach.
up is a swear word for us. So.
Ooh. So I swore on the show.
Yes, edit that out. No, our sport performance program is centered around healthy strength and conditioning, resistance training for all of our athletes, all of our sports, grades 7 through 12. So.
Do you find if an athlete is training eating well, doing what they're supposed to do, maybe the recovery time from an injury is a little quicker?
It is, and we also see, and statistics have shown through sport performance, whether it's at a high school level or a collegiate level, that 75% of athletes that train in the off season have a less likelihood of having soft tissue injuries too. So we're really trying to edge out those soft tissue injuries by training our athletes in the off season, so that when they do come into their seasons, that they are already conditioned, and that they're not seeing those drop-offs when their season is done in strength and in conditioning, so we prevent those.
And it's a year-round thing. No matter what
Yep.
season you're in, it's a year-round thing, isn't it?
Yeah, so we started actually last June of 2022, and we go through all year round now. So all of our athletes are able to train in their off seasons and in season. Our in season training is slightly different from our off season, less volume, less high intensity, because they are already seeing high intensity and high volume in their given sport. And then their off season, we do really try to ramp up that intensity, ramp up that strength, and see the big gains in their off seasons.
If someone comes to you and say, I want to train, I want to do football strength training or volleyball, or do you have specific programs for specific sports or no?
Our main lifts are going to be the explosive speed performing lifts, and then our accessory movements are slightly different. So those sports that have a lot of plyometric or deceleration type of techniques, throwing, catching, more upper body, that kind of stuff, some of the rotation type positions, that kind of thing. Their accessory movements will be slightly different, but for the most part, our main lifts are the same, maybe slightly variable to start deciding on like start positions, finish positions, catch positions, all that kind of terminology. But for the most part, we really focus on the sport performance of explosion, speed, and strength.
I was talking with Mike Callahan here during the basketball season, the great head trainer here at Valley City.
Yes.
And, he sees the all sorts of different kinds of injuries
Yep.
throughout his school year. And I said, Mike, have you ever thought, and you might know where I'm going, where you, and this is before I knew you were kind of involved, you and maybe Mr. Hunt get together and get all these athletes in one room at one time and say, if you want to avoid a long-term injury, here's what you have to do. Is that something that you really talk with the kids about?
Actually, Mike Callahan and I work really closely together, and we have from the start. So when I was brought on by Mr. Johnson and Mr. Hunt, Mike Callahan and myself started really closely together, along with the Essentia physical therapist. And so we're kind of collectively a team in the injury prevention side and the rehab side for these kids. We want to keep them healthy for the longevity of their season. And for those of them that unfortunately have an injury and they're coming back from it, we want them to do it smart. We want them to be diligent and do it the right way, so that we can prevent that in the future and they can get back to their sport as quickly as possible. But yes, Mike and I do have a really great relationship, talking about everything from concussion protocol to rehab to prevention, and we stay on top of every single athlete and every individual athlete too. We know everything about each one of them, whether they think we do or not. So
There's a file about this thing.
there is a file.
You can't escape
Top
it no matter
secret.
what.
Top secret
It's
file.
top secret
Yep,
file.
yep.
Yeah, it's like the Mission Impossible theme would be playing right now. Have you had athletes come to you and say, this is what I want to do, and just maybe seek out your advice, and either you get them in your program or give them something they can work with?
Well, when it comes to high school and junior high school athletes, they do have goals, and we appreciate those goals. The experience that I have, 20 plus years of sport performance coaching and personal training and group fitness training, and working with high school athletes, collegiate athletes, and adult athletes, has a lot to be said. And so a lot of times I'll sit them down and talk to them about their goals, and then come back to the sport they're referencing, and then we kind of put something together. And in hindsight, I put them on the right path, but what I'm doing overall is for the best for that athlete. And in all honesty, with having Mr. Hunt being everything from a collegiate athlete to a professional athlete, him and I have put together some great programs, and I've got some other great high school sport performance coaches, some other collegiate strength training coaches that have helped me with some programming and stuff like that. So we have a really legitimate program going on here at Valley City, and I'm super excited to see it grow and to incorporate it into our cool culture here for all our Highliners. So I think what we've got going is really good.
What age would you say is a good age to get started in something like this?
You know, and it kind of depends on what sports they're doing. I think kids should be active at all ages. Fifth, sixth grade, fourth, fifth, sixth grade is a good time to get them mobile, get them doing, you know, body weight movements, calisthenics, plyometrics, sprint training. That kind of stuff is awesome for that age group. Once they hit that, I would say 7th, 8th grade is time to get them on a PVC pipe, an empty barbell, on bands. Some of those kids move really well and they've got some experience. So I take them on an individual basis. And just like any coach, you see certain athletes that move better than others. They're ready for the next step. So we move them up. But everybody's taken as they are. You know, I don't group them together necessarily by sport or by age. I see them as an individual and as what they're capable of, and that's kind of what I base them off of. But I think for all parents, all coaches, get them moving, get them having fun with fitness, get them having fun with strength, and I don't like to use the word conditioning, but
Sure.
you know, speed training, get them outside, get them having fun with it, and don't be afraid of, especially my girls, don't be scared of putting weight on a barbell, you
Right.
know. And we see even later in life, those people that have strength trained in the past, not only do they have, you know, a more thrivent life as they become older, but they're healthier, they look younger, they feel better, you know. So if we can ingrain this in our kids now, it's going to be better overall, not just for their sport performance in high school and college. So.
Well, I know a young man is going to be coming on the show here later on tonight. Mr. Griebel, Coy
Yeah.
Griebel. He seemed to be the epitome of just knowing how to take care of himself.
He's one that sometimes you got to hold back, even. And he knows that, and we've talked about that. Yes, and I've actually got 4 of our seniors and 1 sophomore on an advanced program that are going on to collegiate sports, 1 into the military. And they're doing a program that was put together by a collegiate strength coach and myself. So those gentlemen are doing a little bit extra right now, including Coy. And yeah, we're working hard, and we're trying to get them to that next level, and in hopes, you know, our upcoming 7th and 8th graders see that fire in those guys and really cling to that and see those guys as mentors. And we're just really trying to grow from the ground up. So.
Well, if anybody knows the Valley City athletes, we have a lot of great athletes
Yes.
in this school.
We do. Hard workers.
They don't just excel at one sport; they excel at a lot of different
Yes.
sports. And what do you attribute that to? Just what it is, the mentality with these kids, that the multi-sport athletes that are they're in good shape, they're disciplined. I mean, it takes a lot to get your body and mind ready for an athletic event.
Yeah. You know, I attribute it a lot to our community. I think we've got a great community. I think we've got a great small town feel. We've got great work ethic in our community throughout these people here. I love having 3 future Highliners in my family. My kids run around this school like they own it. And
Your husband did it one time.
yes, that's true. Yeah. My middle child will run through the varsity players like he's one of them. But yeah, I think it's just such a cool place to be. And a lot of it's attributed to the parents, you know. We've got some really great parents in this community, and they rally around each other when stuff gets hard, and their kids see that and they work together. And I just think Valley City is such a great place to be, and the culture that we're bringing to Highliner athletics is second to none. So
If anybody wants to get involved in this, how can they get a hold of you and get things started?
yeah, so one other thing I wanted to mention is we are having our summer program again this year, and we are fortunate enough that we got to sanction it as a summer school course. So anybody that's grades 9 through 12, going into grades 9 through 12 for next school session, will be able to register for summer school. It's of no cost to you. Our incoming 7th and 8th graders, it's still going to be a cost, but our Highlander Booster Club has generously offered to help anybody out that wants that. It's a very minimal cost. It will be 4-week session, off week of the 4th of July, and then another 4 weeks. It's 3 days a week, and we'll be focusing on speed, agility, and mobility, and then our strength and power. So our we will register for, I'm sorry, I don't even know when we're registering for summer school right now. I'll have to talk to Mr. Hunt on that one, but you'll register for summer school, get that going, and then he's actually going to be helping me with the speed program himself because he's gone through it and run it when he was over at MSUM with football. So I'll have a little bit of an experienced speed performance coach with me as well, which will be fun. And Mr. Callahan himself will be there as well to help with some of that injury prevention and rehab. But we are going to offer that again this summer. And then if you do want to get involved with any of our off-season training, get a hold of me or Mr. Hunt. Stop by the weight room. I'm there Monday, Wednesday, Friday right now before and after school. Or stop into the office in the junior high department and they can get you my information. But any Highliners are welcome. You don't have to be in a sport to do off-season training. And if you're interested in getting into a sport too, we can connect you with the right coaches or anything like that. So it's never too late to be in athletics ever. So
How about old guys? Can we get into this?
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
You want to be a placeholder?
Yes.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah, we can get you in touch with Engen. And
Oh, now I think I might be over my head here on this one. But Allie, again, it continued the good work, and I know you think about it. Successful athletic teams begin in the weight room for a lot of schools.
it does. And you know, the nice thing about being in the weight room is it's the stuff that goes unseen with these athletes. There's no stands, there's no cheerleaders, there's nobody else there. It's you, it's yourself. It holds these kids to a different standard, and their integrity really has to show up. And so it's really cool to see these young men and women, like, they're growing up in front of you, you know, like you see what they're actually capable of because nobody else is watching their hard work at this point. So I feel really privileged to be the one that gets to see them and see what they actually are made of. So it's really cool to be that person.
And then when you get to see what they do on the field, that makes you a little proud there.
I have a little proud mama heart when I go to
Little
those
pride
games.
there.
Yeah, I do.
Well, again, Allie, appreciate you coming by, joining us, and talking about this. Continued success, and look forward to talking to you again down the line.
Yes, thank you so much.
Sport performance.
Sport performance coach, yes.
I just want to make sure I got it right. Again, Allie Keller, our sports performance coach, and someone that needs a little sports performing is coming on next year. But that's coming up as Coach's Corner continues here from the Hack Lobby on the Highlander Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner from the Hack here on the Highlander Activity Network. And now we're going to talk about it's coming. Track and field season is it's coming. Well, outdoor. I know indoor is right around the corner. We got that on Friday, but Coach Trevor Bachelar joining us. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing well. You know, we're 3 weeks into the season now. We've had a practice duel with Jamestown get switched because they were hosting NAIA basketball and wrestling, so we didn't get to do that. And then, you know, we're ready to go to that meet in Concordia, and then the weather hits, and that cancels it on us. And so, green lights across the state right now on the roads, so we're ready to go tomorrow.
Tomorrow, NDSU tomorrow?
NDSU, yeah. So there's the Class A indoor meet. And the size of the meet this year, though, decided to split the meet into two different. So the girls are going to be competing in the morning, and then the guys competing in the afternoon.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And then JV goes on Saturday.
Yeah, and then we'll turn around, get home late that evening, and then get back on the road. And then they start at 8 o'clock in the morning. So we got an early start at 6:15 to hit the road on that one. And so it's track, and some field with shot put.
How talking about that, the field, it is difficult for those field events to practice when you can't get outside.
Yeah, definitely. You know, the luxury of shot put right now, the way we have it set up, the kids get a chance to at least do a lot of releases and throwing, which is really nice. Little makeshift ring that we've got. You know, javelin's a little bit tougher, but we do have some, you know, indoor implements that the kids can throw. At least they get some releases. Same with the discs, you know, same thing. We get the batting cages out, stretch that across, and the kids get to do some throwing. Again, not ideal, but it works for what we can do.
Are they getting anxious?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the kids are, you know, typically, we're, you know, 2 weeks in, we're already competing, and we haven't been. So our experienced kids that have been around for a while, they kind of understand it, you know, and they know what to expect and things coming up. But it's the new ones that have a lot of questions and that anticipation. And so they haven't had that opportunity to just kind of, you know, what do you say, get their feet wet or anything like that yet. And so that little bit of anxiety that they're having about going to their first meet, you know, but it's gonna. I think it's gonna go good.
That's where your veterans really can step in, be that leader, and just tell them kind of, just relax, it'll be okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually had that talk with them at the beginning of practice today about, you know, those kids stepping up and taking them under their wing and showing them what they need to do. Coaches are always there, but their peers, you know, have a big influence on how they're gonna perform and how they're gonna feel.
And you had, you know, some kids that did well, went to the state level, and had, you know, you had the relay team with Parker, Aiden, and then last year was Evan Milkey and Austin Shape. And so hopefully, you know, pair those guys and some more. But how about the anticipation of getting these kids out? Because you've got some great athletes that really could do some great things.
You know, yeah, we are looking forward to this season. And with the experience, like you said, that we have coming back, I think we have some new kids that are really going to help our team overall, and I think they're going to surprise themselves on how they can perform. So a few of them that I've been talking to for a couple of years, and finally they're out, so I'm excited to see them perform. And again, I think we're going to have, you know, probably that close to maybe 10 to 12 state qualifiers again. I think that we can do that, no problem. We're really trying to focus some more on the field events. So that's been a kind of a heavy recruiting thing this last couple years, and so we're seeing those numbers really grow, which is nice.
When you talk field events, you're talking to throwers, your jumpers, in that area. And I know we just had one of your throwers, Miss Judd, was just here. Because I asked her, I said, "So what do you throw?" She said, "Everything." And how do you do? And she just kind of hemmed and hawed. So, well, we'll talk to Coach Bacalar about that. But where do you see your strength at in those field events on both the boys and girls? I know Karina Olson went to state in the long jump. Now she's looking to. I know she said on this show last week she wants to set that state record.
She is. She wants that record, the Valley City one, and so I think she can.
Or the Valley City one. I said state.
You know, but. Hey, I remember you talking to Austin Shape at the beginning of the year last year, and he said, you know, the same thing. He wanted that, and he got it, right? He earned it. And so I think she has the potential, obviously, to do it. We just got to keep, you know, like a lot of those kids, you just got to keep them healthy throughout the season and so that they can perform well. But, you know, Aiden Jacobson coming back and, you know, his long jump and high jump, I think he's doing well. We have a new jump coach this year that's been doing a really good job with those kids. And so they've transitioned to him, you know, very well. And I think they're going to, same thing, perform, you know, to the top of their abilities.
And I know him well because we worked together in the same classroom as Paras the first semester. And Aiden has already said he's learning a lot. What is it having a coach that kind of specifies in your area that to help you? How important is that for these young athletes?
Gosh, it's, you know, I tell you what, finding coaches that have that experience or are willing to step in and actually spend the time to help with kids is sometimes difficult. And, you know, little bit smaller community, and I think we've got a lot of experience in this community, but not everybody has the time, right, to put into it. And so he is a very valuable resource coming to us, and he's also helping down at the college as well. So he's got quite a bit of experience, both levels. You know, he's working with college level, jumping, 6'6", you know,
Yeah.
versus, hey, we've got a 3'11" jumper, right? And so little different nuances and things like that there, but he's doing a really good job.
Well, now as you get ready for Friday, again, the Class A indoor, and what are you expecting, Coach, when it's your first meet, first chance to be able to compete? Is it just a chance to get out there and compete?
Yeah, and that was one of the things we talked about the kids. You know, you might have set a mark last year, right? Don't expect to be right there. The big thing is going out and just competing. Be competitive, just try your best, you know, and just give it that effort, and it'll all smooth itself. Everything happens. We always talk personal records every year, and so with those kids, you know, we're not going to probably set a whole lot the very first meet. We could, which would be nice, but you know, it's just getting out there and competing and just enjoying the environment, right? Because the kids are out for track and field. A lot of them have different reasons for being out, which is okay. Some want to be, you know, right here, and some are trying to improve some other things also. But I think the experience so far has been great for a lot of them. They said that they really enjoyed it.
You know, and having Allie Keller, we just had her on, and I suppose I guess her program with Sports Performance helps some of your athletes.
Yeah, you know, they work with her 2 days a week, the whole team. Yeah, 2 days out of a week. Sorry, I was like, whoa. And then, but the throwers actually go 3 times a week with her, and so they'll do some lifting in the morning with her. It's really benefited those kids. You know, we've done some strength training before as a group, but now it's a little more individualized. So instead of just the core, it's a little bit more specific with throwers doing something, distance kids doing something different. So it's really nice. I think they're getting the right things that they need to improve. So.
Well, before I let you go, I'd be remiss if I didn't have you put your dad hat on for just a few minutes.
Oh, boy.
But you've got a couple of young ladies that are doing some pretty good things on Frozen Pond in hockey. Addie, your daughter Addie, was goaltender for the 12U team that won the state championship here a couple weeks ago. She was on the show with some of her Valley City teammates. And your daughter Lainey is going to be with Team North Dakota at their 14U championships coming up. So what is it like that, having a couple of young ladies that are pretty good with the stick?
Pretty proud, you know. You know, we travel a lot, and those kids put in a lot of time, a lot of miles and things like that. And so when they can both achieve, you know, state championships in that same year, it's pretty awesome. It's a good feeling as a father. And now we'll get ready to head off to Dallas next week and go to that national championship with Lainey and see how they do. I think they're ranked
ninth
right
They
now.
are the number 9 seed.
Yeah, so the highest seed in North Dakota going down there.
And I talked with a young gentleman from Edina.
Oh, yeah.
And your first, I think one of your opponents, the top seed, the Minnesota Lakers.
Yeah.
That's the Edina, Hill Murray group of kids.
Yeah.
And they're in a pool with Dallas. They're in a pool with the Little Caesars out of Michigan.
Little Caesars, that's our second game.
And then Minnesota. So it's going to be fun, though, isn't it?
I think it is, you know, and those girls being in that Minneapolis league down there, they've played these teams, you know, and so they have some of that experience. It's not somebody new, you know, that's coming in. So, yeah, I'm excited. You know, I just get to sit back and watch, you know, and tell them good job, good effort. And so, yeah, and just enjoy the experience.
That's at the end of the month, March 31st. They'll be down in Dallas. I think the women's Final Four is in Dallas, too, so that's going to be a busy area.
It will be. It will be. Yeah, we're going to start making that. There's a lot of families that are driving, so we're all going to make that trek on Wednesday, and so get down there and spend some time. Try to enjoy it as well, right?
Yeah, I figured I better put your dad hat on and talk about those 2 young ladies here before I let you go.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, Coach, again, thanks for joining us, and let's get this snow melted, get some people outside, and just have track and field season.
Right, I hear you. We'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there. Thanks again, Trevor.
Thank you.
You bet. Coach Trevor Bachelar from the Valley City Track and Field team. We'll be back with our final segment of Coach's Corner coming up here from the Hack on the Highland Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner from the Hack here on the Highlander Activity Network, and wrapping up in our second to last segment. We do have one more segment we're going to do, but we are joined by senior Coy Griebel from Valley City. And Coy, how you doing, buddy?
Good.
Good. I haven't seen you in a while, so good to see you getting. You got track is going on for you right now. And now, if I did all of his accomplishments over the last few years, the sun would be down and it'd be bedtime by the time I got done. So, but three-time state champ is just where I'm going to start right there. But Coy, getting a state championship again, your third one, your feeling just finishing up your career with another state championship?
Just grateful, blessed. It's a great feeling as always, but it's never a feeling that's I guess it's what I trained for the last however many years. So it's like I think I try to say is it's the time you put in the wrestling room, working for that, not really the time where you actually get it. I feel special. I think it's all the stuff leading up to it. So.
And being part of what really could be considered a historic year for Highlander wrestling, yourself, Brother Colton, Broden Muskie, state champs, and then we had Miley Christensen, the first girls state champ, and just being part of kind of a historical year as well for the Highlanders as a senior. It's got to be special too.
Yeah, I mean Miley, she's been through a crazy year for her, and I'm very proud of her for. Sticking it through, and she got it done at the state tournament. And then Broden, a great career for him. Way to cap it off. He's a monster, and so Colton, he does what he does, and it was fun watching him too. So
now I'm sorry I'm going to bring up a sad subject there, buddy, because I know you'd rather be in Virginia Beach right now with the folk style nationals, but an injury's kind of keeping you aside. But now Colton's down there and he'll be wrestling, and I think Mr. Greeley, your buddy from Lisbon, is down there. What's the folk style nationals like down there at Virginia Beach?
Yeah, it's a great hard tournament. The East Coast, a lot of East Coast wrestling. So Pennsylvania comes down there. Pennsylvania's probably the top state in the nation for wrestling, so you just get some of the best wrestlers in the nation, and my goal is to All-American down there. Obviously I can't do that now, but just look forward to the next thing.
Is that a much bigger Rumble in the Red at a bigger scale?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the Rumble in the Red has a lot of kids, but they're all kids from the Midwest area, where this is kids from, I think last year I wrestled a California kid my first match, Wyoming kid. Then I wrestled over. You just get kids from all over the nation. So.
Did you go to Orlando for the band trip?
I did.
How was that?
Yeah, it was good. Other than I
still playing the trumpet?
Yeah, playing the trumpet and just having fun.
Is that those fun trips something like that? You're not a wrestling. It's not an intensity thing. You're there enjoying a festival and having a good time.
I would rather be wrestling. Yeah,
yep.
I mean it's fun, but all I can think about is the next time I can get back in the gym, get training again.
Well, now that your wrestling career's done, we still got track coming up here, but as you get ready to wrap up your senior year, Coy, just some fond memories that you have of your wrestling career for Valley City.
Man, I just have so many people that I can remember. Just being a seventh grader, even the senior class, like Logan Erlinson, Jake Tang, and Jared Undum, John Langer. Just remembering those guys, kind of setting the tone, and Parker Larson, the Roggelstead twins. So many great wrestlers before me who helped me out, and just going to battle every duel with my teammates. Those are just fun moments. Tournaments, being in hotels with your teammates, that's always a fun experience, and just remembering all those fun memories.
And also the friendships that you form with guys not from your school, but you see them at tournaments. You'll see them at like folk style or a freestyle or whatever. Just that too, the bonds you get with some of those guys that aren't from Valley City.
Yeah, with the summer wrestling we do, I mean, you get to know so many other people, and then you see them around at tournaments, and you become friends with their families, and they become friends with your parents, and it's just a whole family affair then, and yeah, those relationships that you can build through wrestling, it's something special.
How about what is the future hold for Coy Griebel outside of track and field coming up this spring? But what's your college look like? Do you have something in mind? What's going on there?
Yeah. Right now I'm just trying to train, work hard, and just be the best wrestler I can be. But hopefully, Lord willing, down the road I can walk on at Iowa.
That's the goal.
So yeah.
Going down to the Hawkeyes, and well, people see pictures of you. You got the Hawkeye gear on.
Yeah.
And is that why you're a Kansas City Chief too?
Fan? That was from my uncle. He handed that one down to me.
You got that from him, so we can blame him. I mean, that's where you got it from. Well, Coy, again, it has been an absolute pleasure watching you wrestle here for over the last 4 years, at least for me, the last 4 or 5 years, and I'm sure a lot of fans that can echo that. Of course, only 2 wrestlers at Valley City High School have won over 200 matches in their career. Parker Larson, who was your teammate, is number 1, and you're number 2 right there. And like I said, we could go off with a lot of accolades, but for you, is the biggest thing not what's on the awards or on the record board? It's just overall the experience of what you did here and the bonds and the friendships you put together?
Yeah, championships, titles, that stuff, it gets written down, but it doesn't get remembered. It's how you interact with people and the relationships you make. That's what gets remembered, and most of all, it's Jesus who gets remembered. You know, how you act with others, and so I think that's kind of what my wrestling career has all been about.
Perfect. Well, I tell you what, it's been a pleasure, and we'll have to talk to you when we get closer to fall and see what's going on with Coy Griebel when he is done here at Valley City. But congratulations on everything you've accomplished, buddy. It's good to talk to you one more time, and good luck down the road.
Thank you, Paul.
You bet. Coy Griebel from the Valley City wrestling team. We'll be back and wrap things up here from the Hack in this Coach's Corner on this Thursday night on the Highland Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner as we get ready to wrap up this Thursday edition. And before I forget, we'll be back on our Wednesday night show next week at 6 o'clock. We'll be back on Wednesday night here from the Hack with Coach's Corner. Well, some things that are coming up for Highlander activities, not just the Highlander Activity Network, but Highlander activities that are coming up. I know there is next Tuesday is that the girls' night out wrestling for Express Wrestling. They've had to reschedule it 3 times, and this time I think they got it. They're not going to have any problems here next Tuesday night. Wrestling gets started about 6 o'clock. And again, Carrington, Jamestown, Lisbon, Central Cass are going to be coming here, if memory serves, of the teams that are going to be coming, and might be one less than what I just mentioned. But of course, the Valley City girls. That's girls' night out, girls only wrestling here at the Hack, and we'll have that for you here on the Highlander Activity Network beginning at 6 o'clock. There's basketball this weekend here, some rec basketball tournament here at the Hack. If you want to watch some youth basketball, you can come on out here to the Hack for that. And of course, next week, the fall play will be getting started at the theater, and it is the Enchanted Bookshop is the fall play next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evening, 7 o'clock. So head over to the theater. That'll be coming up next week, and take in the fall play. And our next coverage for the Highlander Activity Network, we mentioned wrestling. We got the third grade concert coming up next Thursday. That'll be over at Jefferson. And, of course, next Wednesday night, we'll be right back here at the Hack with Coach's Corner. I want to thank, as usual, our guests that joined us here this evening, Jody Schlenker and Derek Lee from BCN Archery, along with Senior Tiana Judd, Coy Griebel, Trevor Bacalar, and Allie Keller joining us on tonight's show. And for our cameraman, technical directors tonight, Derek Bear, along with Jaden Johnson. And as usual, our sponsors that help us out here on the Highlander Activity Network with Essentia Health and the Valley City Booster Club. And you joining us each and every week. Again, we'll be back next Wednesday at 6 o'clock, our normal slot here Wednesday night, 6 o'clock for Coach's Corner here on the Highlander Activity Network.